Welcome back. It's time for the Roundtable. This week, making news nationwide. Vox Media, a company that started out as a DC startup sports blog, now is making headlines for its big numbers and a notable acquisition. Also in the news this week, whether employees should haggle over salary and when to use your employees as your company's best advocates. Joining us today, Barry Glassman, CEO of Glassman Wealth Services, named one of Washington Business Journal's best places to work, and Jennifer Neese-Connor, Washington Business Journal's assistant managing editor. Welcome to you both. Barry, congratulations. Jennifer, I'm going to assume he didn't bribe the judges or anything like that.
No, can't do it. It's all numerically based.
Well, before we brag about why Barry's such a great boss, let's talk about Vox Media, because I have to say, this company keeps amazing me. I keep thinking them as this DC startup,
right? And
baby's grown up. They're big kids now, and they just bought Recode, a big name to those of us who follow tech news. They were started by Kara Swisher and Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal. So for Vox to acquire Recode says to me, they're in the game.
They are certainly in the game, and they're doing something, Vox is doing something very interesting where they're taking some of the big shiny brands that are out there, figuring out how to take them into the fold and then hopefully help them make money. That was one of the things that Recode was struggling with. While it has a very loyal following, it wasn't posting the kind of numbers it needed to bring the money home that it needs.
I got schooled this week. Verge and some of the other products that Vox Media has out there has way bigger numbers than Recode, even though Recode does have such a cult following. They've also done a very good job, the guys who started Vox Media, of constantly building to the brand, adding to the brand. They've got so many different titles under the name, and they keep buying the shiniest and most substantive names out there. Ezra Klein from the Washington Post, that's when a lot of journalists in this city really sat up and took notice.
Right, and it was a very, he has a very specialized area that he covers, and the same thing with the Curbed network, which not everybody knows, but sites like Eater.com and Curbed.com, they have very loyal followings in things like restaurants and home and retail and things like that.
Barry, your take on this making news nationwide this week?
Oh, it's terrific. It's a win-win for both Walt and Ezra, if I can call them by their first names. It's a great culture fit. Both came from traditional media, and now they're part of this new media entity. And also, Recode was having some struggles as far as reaching an audience. They have 1.5 million viewers, new viewers per month. And the publishing arm called Chorus, that's a no-brainer for Walt and his team to have access to.
Well, and Ezra gets the big attention, but it's the founders who really have been the ones growing. But they also brought in other people, the executives, former executives from AOL and others, to keep growing.
Right. And I don't think this will eat into their current audience at all. I think this is additive.
It's not cannibalism.
Right. No, this is additive to the overall brand.
Okay, that's a good topic we could talk about forever, but I want to get to this topic, making news this week. An article in the Wall Street Journal that spread about how a lot of companies are no longer allowing employees to negotiate salaries, and in fact are making the position salary public. Everybody knows what it is. You take the position, you get the salary, and done deal. Good idea, bad idea?
You know, it's a fascinating idea, really, because it is one of those things that's such a kind of surprising thing you don't learn about when you're going on all those job interviews and they teach you how to negotiate and don't make the first offer. And what they're really doing is this take it or leave it principle where people aren't really sure how to react. And what these companies are finding, one of the big ones is Reddit.com, which is a hot company. People want to work there. They are finding people are kind of going, okay, that's fine. I want to work here. It's worth it to me, and I will accept that.
Barry, I see good and bad in this. I mean, different people are going to bring different levels of experience and salary level that may be competing for the same job. If you want to get a certain person that may be a bigger fit for a certain job, you may have to pay more. On the other hand, it is women historically who have done the most poorly when they're negotiating without any transparency. When they don't know what the other people around them are getting paid, they don't do so well getting equitable salaries. So good or bad?
Both. Thank you for stealing my thunder. Both.
You're going to stick up for the women? I should have known that about you.
Well, it's both because, firstly, you don't want a culture where the people who are best compensated need to be the nags to go and ask the boss for more money every time. That's not the kind of culture you want. On the flip side, you want the employees to have some say. You want them to have some buy-in to what their compensation may be. And lastly, imagine if half the NFL, the NFC, all the quarterbacks were paid the exact same. no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, what happens to the AFC, the other side? They'll steal all their players. So once everyone else knows how Reddit's employees are paid, it's going to be really interesting to see how other firms may poach.
Yeah, I don't see it working overall as literal translation across the board, but it definitely has some merit. So I think it's worth talking about. But Jennifer, you're teeing up one of the things everyone is talking about. You wrote about using employees as your best advocates once you've got them on board. And we brought Barry on this week because we like having him on, but also because he's a good example of a company that can do that. When you're voted best place to work, then obviously you want your employees to be your advocates out there. But you say it should be more than that. Even if you're not the best place to work, still give your employees some role as a megaphone for the company.
Well, it's a really interesting thing. There's an old saying in the branding and marketing world of branding is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. So that could be a product, that can be a company for that matter. And it's one of those things that companies should really think about what their people are saying about them over that 4th of July picnic. Are they saying great things about them? Are they referring them to friends? And what our partner at Quantum Research, who conducted the research on best places to work for the Washington Business Journal, what they found was employee advocacy is something that is really high in the companies that score really well on best places to work. Those employees are going out there telling their friends, saying this is a great place, and feel like they have a stake and ownership in the company.
Barry, do you openly solicit that from your employees? Do you say, hey, go out there and tell everyone how great we are, or how do you manage it when you know that your employees are happy?
You can't ask them for it. You can't tell them what to say. It doesn't work that way.
You got to earn the love.
Some companies try, but yeah.
You got to earn the love. Thank you. You got to earn the love. What you need to do is solidify the culture. And if the employees thrive in that culture, they're going to talk about it. If there are differences and nuances and you stand out from other employers, they're going to brag to their friends and tell everybody about that.
You've been in business for a long time. You've learned what works and what doesn't. What has been, you would say, the single biggest success in keeping employees happy?
2 things. Number 1, employees have to have say. Regardless of what level they are in the firm, they have to have say, and you want to encourage that.
And 2, we got to wrap.
And 2, put people who thrive in their roles.
And let them thrive.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
We got to wrap because we got the pop quiz coming up when we come back, so stay tuned for more Washington Business Report. Welcome back. It's time for the pop quiz. So given our conversation earlier in the show, this is the question I want to ask each of you. Jennifer, as the employee, busy, working mom, juggling a lot, what are the top 3 ingredients your employer can offer you to keep your loyalty?
Okay, first, you got to feel valued, and valued it can mean salary, that's important, but it also means feeling like the role you're playing is contributing to the overall success of the company, that you're really needed there by your team and by the company. Second would be opportunity not just for advancement in terms of promotions, which are great, but also in terms of training and education, and constantly feeling like you're growing so it's new every day. And then third would be flexibility, to really have a chance that stuff happens. Your kids get sick, things happen in your life. You got to be able to kind of roll with the punches and know that the mission is still getting accomplished, but that you have the flexibility and trust to be able to do it.
I agree with all 3 of those. Barry, you're the employer, and I know you can't put all your employees in one box, but if you had to pick 3 ingredients that you think is the most important to keeping all of them happy, pick 3.
Well, this is easy. First is culture. Why the business exists and what it is you're trying to accomplish for not only the employees, your clients, but the community as well. Culture eats strategy for breakfast every day. Number 2, employees want ways to grow personally and professionally. So it doesn't just mean new promotions, it means learning new things. And then lastly, you have to want to come to work. It's fun.
And you can pay people enough that you can offset a little bit of having fun, but you're right. You want people to have a culture where they really feel like, if I'm going to spend the majority of my waking hours here,
exactly,
this is where I want to be. And that can offset not making enough money in a lot of different places. So, okay, good answers from you all. Thank you for joining us. Be sure and let us know your thoughts on these shows. Join us on Facebook or Twitter, and you can always watch past interviews at WJLA.com. We hope to see you right back here again next Sunday for Washington Business Report.